Hello everyone and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. Today we are going to be back in our Resident Evil tutorial series. We're going to be setting up one other menu before we can actually get down to some fun code. In the last episode we did the main menu, which was very simple. And we're going to create the basics of another widget that we're going to be using in the upcoming episodes. It's going to be our save load screen BP widget. And if you remember in the original Resident Evil games, they used to have the typewriter, and it would come up and it would have a long list of things you could save, and it was just a very basic saving system. And we're going to try and set something up very similar. So again, we're going to create an image on the back where it can sit on, like so. That looks good to me. And again, we'll make it just so we can sort of see how it's looking in the background of the game. And all we need is just a list of potential saves. So if we compile that, what we need to do, you have a certain amount of slots, if I remember correctly, and so we can keep things separate. What we're going to do is we're going to create a second widget, and we'll call this save slot widget. Now, when we went through, I've been through save slots so many times, and typically you only have most of the tutorials set up with just one. So we're going to try and set up with we're going to set up with like 10. So what we need is another canvas panel so we can kind of see what space we've got. And we're going to custom size it at the top here, and we're going to do it like, I don't know, 500 across. I think that should be okay. And then what we can do is we'll set another image. We'll make this one not transparent, but we'll also make it a different color to black just so it stands out a bit better. So we'll go with like a slightly darker gray. I will make it transparent now after I said that, and we'll make it 0.75. It's not going to look flashy, it's just going to work, is the hope. And what we need to do to get this setup ready to go is we'll need we'll need a few different texts. And we'll put one, I think, would be good. No, we won't. What we'll do is we'll call it save slot, and then I will get a second text, and call that 1. And we'll set both of these to blank, like so. And this one, I want it to become a variable. We'll call it slot number text. If we go over to the graph, we should now be able to see that here. Yep. And on event construct, we're going to set text, and we're going to promote this to a variable. We'll call this slot number, and we're instance editable and expose that on spawn. And you'll see the reason we do that in a little while. So that's the first thing we want to know on there. Now, there's a bunch of information that they have on the Resident Evil save slot info. Um, typically, they have um, a last location. They have the character you're playing as, the difficulty, whether it was like an auto save or a like what save it was, and normally they have like a time and date of the save. I'm not going to be going into too much of that, but what I do need is a kind of identifier, so we know what we've saved. Um, so we're going to bring in another text, and I haven't given the character a name. So we're gonna call him Alfred. I don't know, random name. So this is going to be our character name, and you'd only change this if you had a particular player, like if you had a choice in player. For example, like when you have like Jill and Chris and can't think of any of the Resident Evil character names at the moment, but Barry, I think, was another one. Wesker, you'd have it change depending on who you're playing as. If it's going to always be the same, then there's not really much point in changing it or having it as a key identifier because it's always going to be Jill if Jill's your only playable character. Then you're going to have your difficulty, so we could have like hard or standard. Again, we don't have this in our game yet, but if we did have a difficulty choosing, we could use that as a key identifier to what our save is. And then the last thing is the location. For example, we could have our center back streets or whatever we called it. You might need to make these a bit smaller, obviously. I haven't really played around with the font or anything like that, but let's make it like 16 maybe. That does work a little bit better. And I don't think the names are going to be as long as I'm expecting here. Let me just come down just a little bit, and then this can come down to about here. That looks better, right? And then finally, you could also have the time and date. So, for example, you could say it was 11th of the 10th, 2024 at right. And then if we make that about 18, maybe no, a little bit less than that. Actually, we could just make it longer. There we go. And so you've got your time and date of when you saved. If I drag that down just a little bit more. Okay, so already we can see there's a few more key identifiers in here. Let's change all these texts to time, date, text, and we've got location, text. These all need to be variables as well, because when we save them, we'll need to hard save them to something. This is going to be difficulty text and character name also needs to be a variable. Save slot is the only thing that does not need to be a variable. Everything else does. And these things will get set depending on what we save and when we save it. Okay. What we need to do now is save this. And we'll go back to our save and load screen widget. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for the save slot. And as you can see, we now have a wonderful looking save slot that we can copy and paste a bunch of times to create our save system. And we'll get all of the functionality out of this once we have set up our save system. It's not neat and it doesn't look very pretty, I know, but that's fine. Doesn't matter too much. There's a couple of other variables we need to expand on with this. But if we click into each one of these, there is a option to chuck in our slot number. So that's already the starting point for this, is getting your 10 slot numbers in, so that when we open this next, we can, it should automatically create those slots to those names. You could make yours bigger. Obviously, Resident Evil, they have theirs fill out the entire screen. So that's down to you guys. You could even have it added into a scroll box if we really wanted to. That is completely up to you as well. There is one other thing we'll need on here, which is I put in close. I didn't need that. I needed a button. There we go. Okay. And if we just get a text, this looks very messy, I know, but just bear with me. It will work. That's the main thing, right? You can design yours however you want. It just needs to look. It just needs to work, and then it's up to you to make it look pretty. Right, and we'll call this close button. Okay. There's one other thing we'll need on this, and that is another button. And we'll just stick that on here. Like so. And what we're going to do is save button. And for style, we're just going to make it almost invisible. So normal is just going to be completely invisible. And then for hovered, we're going to make it just marginally visible, like 2.24 is fine. And then for pressed, we'll make it 0.5. I think that's good. And then we can basically put all the code into that for saving and stuff like that. On this one, what we're going to do is just, all we need for this one is basically to say close button on clicked and remove parent, like so. And I'll close this menu if ever we open it. And then for my save, item, because obviously, like I said, Resident Evil, they have the typewriter. What I wanted to do was something a little bit different. I'm going to put it over here just so we can see the example of it. Let's create a new actor class, and we're going to call this save location BP. Right. And we'll add in a static mesh. I'm going to make this shrine. I think it was a shrine. Nope. I have to go find it. It's in the... I've seen it already. It's here somewhere. It is... where are you? What was Torino? Decorative stone. There it is. Oh, I didn't mean to open it. Let's drag that over here and set that to this. There it is. Got our decorative stone. This is going to be my save location for the entirety of this series, and I need a box collision. Let's do that. Make it a bit bigger. Oh, a bit bigger. Sort of like that. And all we need is to get a begin overlap and an end overlap. Cast to third person character. Same for this. And then get player controller. Enable input. And also disable the input. And then we'll get the E key. And all we want to do is create widget. And we'll get our save load screen and add to viewport. There's a couple of things we could do with the mouse and stuff like that, but I'm not too worried about that. I just want to get the functionality there, and we'll just drag. No, 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 we will not drag that one out. We need the actual save location. There it is. Right, and if I do G, we've got that there. Right. So hopefully, if I start my new game now, I go over this, and there it is at the top there. I won't be able to close it without the mouse button, but you can see as well it's named all the slots as we expect them to as well. They're all named Alfred Hard, Sienna Backstreets, and whatever, but that we can change. And all I'm going to do is if I re-press play, I'm going to take whatever that name is on the CCTV screen there, that hallway one. That's what's going to populate the name. The time will be some form of a real world time, so it'll probably just take that from your computer. And then the name will always be the same. I haven't given her a name, but when I do, it'll just be the name of the character. And then the difficulty will probably always just be standard for now. But you get the general idea of how this is going to shape up. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Much love. Take care. Bye.